Did you see that or no?
What's up?
Tone
You didn't
fried
see it?
himself. Tone definitely fried himself. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Do you know what Dick Motta once said? But do you guys know what Dick Motta once said when asked about having home court in playoffs?
No, I don't. What did he say?
He said war would be the only venue where it doesn't pay to have home court.
Oh man, that was funny. You know what I felt? You know what I felt like, Jay? So just so for people who people are going to tune in and be like, "What the hell were you guys all laughing at?" So I showed him a picture of me when I went on a cruise years ago, and if I don't know if you ever watched Seinfeld, but Kramer was he was going to meet his girlfriend's family, and they're black, and so he was like, "I want to go get a little tan," and he fell asleep in the tanning bed.
He cooked himself. Oh, I remember that.
Himself. That's what I felt like.
I saw that.
I do remember that.
He's so red.
I look at it, I'm thinking,
oh man.
That's all. What's up?
Man,
what's up,
that's
Tony
crazy.
Tone?
Tony Tone, leave him alone.
Kramer irritated me, man. I hated Kramer. George made the show. George was wild, but Kramer, I couldn't stand Kramer.
Kramer made the show, bro, and I get why you don't like him because he's ridiculous, but he still made the show. Like, he made everything he did hilarious.
How can you not like Kramer?
Because he was so irritating.
That's McLovin. That was McLovin. He was the show don't start till Kramer show up. That was the original McLovin right there.
That dude would just pop up in his house.
I still use this line from Kramer when they find out his first name, and he goes, "The cat is out of the bag." I still use that all the time. All the time.
Oh, weak. Good old Kramer.
Hey, real quick, can we get into this day in NBA history?
Yeah, what? Yeah, sure.
Today is May the 7th. Today is May the 7th, 2024.
2024.
What happened on May 7th, 2024?
Well,
what happened on
May 7th? May 7th, 1995, Indiana Reggie Miller scored 8 points, 2 3-pointers, 2 game-winning free throws over the final 16.4 seconds of the game, helping lead the Pacers to a shocking 107-105 come-from-behind win over the host New York Knicks in Game 1 of their Eastern Conference semifinal series. The Pacers went on to win the series in Game 7 after Ewing blew that layup. Guys, thoughts? Anything when you remember watching that game live? Anything like that?
Yeah, that was one of the most clutch performances I had seen, especially at that point in time. But even still to this day, just you can't let players like Reggie get loose like that because you see what they can do. I mean, he scored that. How many seconds did you say? Because it seemed like he scored 8 points in like 7 seconds or something. What was the exact number of seconds you said?
We started scoring.
It was what?
16 seconds. 16 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, even still though, to come up with 2 threes and a 2-pointer, or was it free throw? But yeah, to come up with 8 points in 16 seconds, that's saying something as far as how clutch you are and just your will at that point in time. Reggie really wanted that game, and he wanted Spike Lee to know that it's real out here.
They still could have won though. The Knicks still could have won. John Starks went to the free throw line and choked the free throws. Why? Because he's stuck on what just happened. He ain't off that. He ain't off the fact that Reggie Miller just scored 6 points in the last 3 seconds. He's still on that. He got to go to the free throw line and make free throws, but I can't go to the free throw line and make free throws because what just happened? Wait a minute. Hold on.
I know this about Game 7. I know this about Game 7. Next time, I won't finger roll Patrick Ewing.
He had a bad Achilles.
Trying to be pretty.
Let's put some context on it. Ewing had he was in year 11. He had a bad Achilles. And he was fighting it the whole playoff. So Ewing just wasn't good enough, man. That's all it was.
I'm just giving you some Fat Joe.
That's all it was. Ewing just wasn't good enough. That's all it was. Just so you know, he's the only big man of that, the only elite big man of that ever not to win. Just so you know.
That's a harsh reality. I know that probably haunts him daily.
Dave Robinson won. Dave Robinson won. Olajuwon won. Shaq
The Dream won.
Yeah, he the only one who didn't win. He the only one who didn't win. So
I mean, I don't want to consider Mutombo elite. Mutombo didn't win then.
Mutombo's not an elite.
Consider him a leader.
He's an elite defender. He's not an elite big man.
He wasn't Olajuwon. He wasn't Shaq. He wasn't Dave Robinson.
He was the centerpiece.
No,
one. Yeah.
Olajuwon too. Not Olajuwon. Lonzo Mourning 1 2.
That was this day in NBA history.
How about that?
Whew, we have a guest today or what?
I just texted him right now. He said he'll be on. I don't know when he's coming, but yeah, Coach Severns is supposed to be on any moment.
Who did he coach? I thought you had said something. He had coached Patrick Beverly, but was that when he was with? Was he with the Clippers at that time?
Yeah, he was with Clippers at that time. He coached. He was on the. He was on the. What was it? He was on Vinny Del Negro's staff in Chicago, and then also in L.A.
Derrick Rose
staff. Yeah, Derrick Rose. He coached Derrick Rose.
Yeah. Okay.
So Derrick Rose.
Huh? No, I said go on.
I was going to say Chris Paul, Griffin, all them. Go ahead.
Lob City. He was on that.
So, but I was going to ask you, because I don't know if you talked to him about this, but I had just seen the trailer for it. So you see that they got a Clippers series coming out, right? Or did you know that?
Yeah.
I'm curious if he, because you know how they be mentioning and bringing up all kind of people behind the scenes. So I'm curious if he has like any knowledge about it, if they reached out to him. Like, so I'm curious to watch that to see if we see any glimpses of him behind the scenes for the series. But yeah.
Well, let's ask him when he comes on.
Yeah, that's the one. Lawrence Fishburne plays Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do the Clippers go from here?
Plays Donald Sterling.
Where do they go from here?
Yeah, where do the Clippers go from here?
Buffalo.
Right, back to the drawing board, definitely. The Clippers have consistently they're kind of like the Suns in that regard. They consistently get all of this talent that they just don't know how to utilize. Like, it never equates to what you think is going to on paper.
Right.
That's nuts.
For Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, JJ Redick, Jamal Crawford. I mean, I thought that was a really good collection of talent. Why it didn't become what it should have became, it's still a mystery.
I hated them.
It is. It's still a mystery to me. I'm not really buying the logic that, we just weren't a good team. No, I'm not buying that.
No, that was an amazing team.
You had. I feel like you had the talent. You had an elite lead guard. Not only did you have an elite lead guard, you had one of the best sharpshooters in the game. You had arguably the best defensive big in the game. You had an elite power forward. Why isn't this working? You had one of the best. You had arguably the best rotation player in the game in Jamal Crawford. Why isn't this working? Everything necessary to win, you had it. Where was the flaw with this year?
No. Well, that's why I disagree. They weren't a good team. They're a talented team. Well, no, they're talented individuals, right? But they weren't a good team. And I think we forget that so often. We look at players and we're like, oh, this player's good, this player's good, this player's good, right? Like Beal, Booker, and Durant are 3 great players. They're not a good team.
Tone, they wasn't together for 5 minutes, though. This crew was together for a long time, man.
It doesn't matter how long they're together because individual talented players doesn't necessarily make to your point, a good team. And we saw that because, well, health's an issue. Right. Team chemistry was an issue, right? Roles were an issue. So that's why I say the proof is in the pudding. Production.
Well, I don't know that they weren't a good team though. It seems like they just came across better teams. Against who though?
Then they're not a good team.
They did beat the defending NBA champs. They did beat the defending NBA champs in San Antonio. They beat them, and then they end up losing to Memphis in the next round. In fact, I think they got swept by Memphis. So with that,
in 15, in 15, that's when they blew the 3-1 lead. They beat the champs in Game 7 off the Paul shot. Then the Mayweather fight was on, and then the next one they were up 3-1 against the Rockets.
It's the Rockets, and they blew.
And then they just decided to punt. And they punted on Game 5 though, thinking we had Game 6 at home, and then nothing came of it.
So with that being said, we've seen collections of talent turn into good teams. We've seen that. So I'm trying to figure out why it wasn't the case with the Clippers. You got a sharpshooter in J.J. Redick, who they put him in correct spaces in order for him to be successful. Blake Griffin finished third in league MVP votes. I think they won 58 games one year in the Western Conference, which, by the way, in the 2010s was a nightmare. So they clearly had the goods. I mean, DeAndre Jordan, he didn't make the All-Star team. He was the first team All-Pro.
Are we forgetting though, like these gimmicky Lob City, 7-second offense? These teams we're equating their regular season wins to playoff success. And did we ever see them have significant playoff success? The answer is no. So that's how I equate whether you're a good team or not, right? What you do in the regular season, you play a lot of bad teams in the regular, like a lot of bad teams in the regular season. People forget
that.
A
lot of good teams too, though, Tone. You don't just play a lot of bad teams. You play a lot of good teams too.
More good teams or more bad?
Well, it depends. It depends. It depends on. It depends. First and foremost, Tone, we're talking about the Western Conference here, and the Western Conference was a nightmare in the 2010s. And with the Western Conference being as tough as it was, for that team with Chris Paul, who at that point you can make the argument he was the best lead guard in the game. Not just him being the best lead guard in the game, you got the best rotation player in the game. You got arguably the best power forward. It was LaMarcus Aldridge, it was Kevin Love, and it was Blake Griffin at that time. So with the collection of talent that you have, and these guys were together for a long time. So with these guys being together for a long time, why didn't this work? Was it at the helm? What was it? Was it management?
Hey, Coach.
Was it at the helm?
We should ask
Coach. We're pondering the
potatoes of this podcast.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
What do you say, Coach?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What you guys trying? You guys trying to break my heart here or what?
Coach, I'm just trying to make sense of it, Coach. There's some holes that need to be filled in this story with the collection of talent that the Clippers have had over the years, and why hasn't this thing worked? We're talking about Lob City. We're talking about this current Clipper unit. Why Kawhi Leonard has missed 4 of the last 5 years in the playoffs. Try to make sense of why this thing isn't materializing the way it should.
Okay, I can go back to 2012, 2013.
Yep.
14, 15, and 16 when I was on the coaching staff. 2012 and 13, Vinny was our head coach.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first year was the lockout year. We went 40 and 26. And our first round opponent was Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Memphis had the home court. It was a grueling series. All our guys were healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of the first beginning of that Lob City run.
Mm-hmm.
We beat Memphis in Game 7 on their court.
I do remember that.
Tough game. I mean, they had Zebo and Gasol and Mike Conley and Rudy Gay, Tony Allen.
Mm-hmm.
They had a great team. And, that was kind of the only time for the 5 years that I was there where all our guys were together and healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Blake and DJ were really young and inexperienced. But we had, Nick Young was on that team, and him and Bledsoe, we're down 28 in Game 1. And those guys led us back to win Game 1. Yeah, the comeback. So we won a grueling series. We go to the next round and play San Antonio, who was right. They were in the midst of their, glory years with all their guys, and they swept us. They swept us 4-0. So we bring that same team back pretty much, but we added for the next year. I believe it was Ryan Hollins and Matt Barnes and Turioff, and we still had that great bench crew coming in for that game. We had Grant Hill on that team, but he didn't.
Grant Hill too.
He was at the end of his year.
He was over. Grant Hill was over at that point.
Yeah, he played a little. I do remember one game. He helped us win one game that year.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget it. It was at the Knicks, and he did a great job defensively. I think he was guarding Carmelo, but he was at the end. But he still brought the leadership. And we also had Chauncey.
Mm-hmm.
And we had, Blake, Chris, and DJ and Jamal were in their prime still. So we had a great regular season. I think we went 56 and 26, won the Pacific Division. And again, our first round opponent was Memphis.
Yes. Another dogfight series.
So we had home court.
Mm-hmm.
And Willie Green was on that team. And I believe Randy Foy might have been on that team. So we win the first 2 games in LA because we had the home court. And then Blake gets hurt. And I believe Chris hurt his hand, I believe. But Blake, for sure, I remember getting hurt, hurt his knee. And they beat us the next 4 games. So that second year, it was injury more than anything. Okay, so Vinny gets fired. Doc comes in the next year. It's Doc's first year, 2014.
Before you go any further, Coach,
we won 57 games that year, I think.
Before you go any further, Coach,
yeah,
you think it was a mistake to get off of Vinny? Because yes. I felt like you guys were rolling. It seemed like you had a really good system. It seemed like you guys played really good defense. You think it was a mistake to get off of Vinny?
Yes, and that's not a knock on Doc. Doc was he was one of the most highly prestigious, sought after coaches at the time. But I think it was a mistake. And I can't get into all the reasons that it happened.
Sure.
But there were some specific things that went on for that to materialize. I think Vinny got a raw deal. And I'm not just saying that because he's my guy.
Right.
I'm just trying to be fair.
Right.
And he won 56 games and, we had that bad injury and got beat in the playoffs. So Doc comes in and, we had a really good team. It was Matt. It was Blake and DeAndre and Chris and JJ Redick who we signed that summer. So that was our starters. We still had a good bench. I believe Bledsoe was still with us and Jamal. It was still a really good team. And I think Doc's first year we won 57 games. And
that was the year that you traded Eric Bledsoe for Dudley in them. That's when you had Dudley in them.
Yeah, for Jared Dudley, who was hurt most of the year, by the way. So we played the Warriors first round. You could see them coming.
This is the beginning of the Warriors.
Mark Jackson was their coach. Steph, Draymond, and Clay were all there. And you could see it coming. Now, the first game of that series, I believe it was the third game of that series. We were in San Francisco in a breakfast meeting, and Doc said, I got to tell you guys, something's coming out. It's not good. And I don't know how to, I don't know really how to address this, but we got to address the team. And Doc, you guys all obviously know what we're talking about.
Right.
The Donald Sterling thing.
Yep.
So, we go to the meeting and Doc tells the team and the team's pissed. Some of them don't want to play. Some of them are in tears. It was very emotional. We had to go play a game the next day.
Right.
So we go to practice and all the media is there at USF. I'll never forget it. Bus pulls up and there's tons of media. And now it's a huge distraction.
Right. So instead of getting ready for a playoff game,
right,
we got to deal with this nonsense.
Yes. I mean, it was a huge distraction for our team. And I remember the next day we played a game and everybody's like, what are they going to do? They're going to protest. How are they going to show solidarity and everything against what had happened?
Right.
I'll never forget, we're watching the players on the monitors. They're out there warming up and they take their jerseys and reverse them, I believe. And Doc just looks it up and says, there's no way we're winning this game. Their heads aren't in it. And he was right. We got beat by probably 20. It was, they just weren't focused enough to win.
Right.
So this situation carries on for the next week during this playoff series. And there was so much, all of a sudden you got guys coming out of the woodwork, coming to our games. And what are you guys going to do? You got to do something. And, guys with no skin in the game.
Right.
So that was a distraction, but we were able to win that series in Game 7. I believe it was a home game, and it was just a tough emotional series that we were able to win. And That was the beginning of Golden State. You could see it coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at the end of that series saying that this team's going to have to, you were going to have to deal with these guys for the next few years. And it turned out to be true. So, and the next round was probably the most disappointing series that when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
So we play OKC. It's game 5. The series is tied 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
We're in OKC for game 5. We're playing pretty well, and no injuries. And we have a 7-point lead with 43 seconds to go in the game, and we lose the game.
That's 3 possessions.
Everything imaginable went wrong. We couldn't get an inbound pass. We had a missed call on an out of bounds play that clearly went off them, and they called it off of us. There was a foul.
Mm-hmm.
Chris turned the ball over on an inbounds pass. We gave up a 3 to Durant. It just everything that could go wrong in 43 seconds went wrong.
Right.
And we lost the game. So instead of going back to LA up 3-2,
you're down.
We're down 3-2. Mm-hmm. And we end up losing that series. And that was a good OKC team, if you guys remember. Yeah. That was when they had all 3 of those guys and Serge.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys were good. So that was really disappointing.
Is this 13 or 14?
This was 2015, I believe.
Okay, this is 15. All right.
Yeah. So that was disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the most heartbreaking one. And then the next year was the Houston Rockets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where we blow a 16-point lead in the 4th quarter with James Harden on the bench.
Yeah.
You guys remember that series?
You remember that? Yes, I do.
Yeah, that was probably one of the most disappointing ones that we weren't able to close that out. I may be getting my years mixed up, but I think it was 2016.
And then I think the next year, Chris breaks his hand.
Yeah, Chris broke his hand.
16 is where Chris breaks his hand. 15 is the Rockets. 17 is where they lose to the Jazz. 7.
Right. So 16 was my last year, and we beat Portland the first round, 2 games at home by 20. I mean, we were in total control of that series. Chris Blake breaks his hand. Blake hurts his knee. Austin Rivers gets his nose bloodied and everything, but he can still play. Right. And we lose 4 straight to Portland.
Right.
And so to answer your question, some of it had to do with injuries. Mm-hmm. Some of it was our fault for not executing down the stretch in those games. And it was disappointing because we had such high expectations for those teams. And, for some reason, we just were never able to get into the conference finals.
Well, everything that you just said, Coach, it's evidence that, man, being good is not good enough, man. You need a lot of things to go your way. You can't just be good. You need a lot of luck. As good as this Clipper team was in terms of talent, as good as the Trailblazers were, one bad break here, it can completely derail everything that you're trying to do.
And you're so right. People don't luck is involved.
It is.
It's hard to win in this league. People look at the roster and they think, oh, look at that roster. They should win. It's hard to win, man.
Yeah.
And if you look at the Clippers in the last 5 years, injuries, health. And I don't know why. I can't give you an answer of why Kawhi keeps getting hurt, but he does.
Well, he's got a degenerative knee. That's the
degenerative knee doesn't help, but
it's the same knee.
Yes, that's the problem.
So now the question is it degenerative?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have an answer, but that's something that they've got to be able to, because you got to have your best player healthy.
Right.
If you don't have your best player healthy, Giannis, okay, it's hard, man. It's hard to win, Coach, with them healthy.
Coach, I looked it up, and I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, because you always keep me honest. I don't think a team has ever won with missing their second best player, let alone their first. So you not only have to have the collection of talent and the system, but you have to have some breaks. You have to have some luck. The ball has to bounce your way, because sometimes the better team usually wins, but not always, because it's pretty close, and it comes down to those 50-50 balls that luck. And Neek was saying something right before you came on. So I don't mean to steal your question, Neek, but I want to go back to that Donald Sterling thing.
Yeah.
Because there's the new show coming out, or a show that's out, I guess, where
it's called Clipped.
And you were there. Were you part of that? Like, obviously they interviewed and talked to a bunch of people who were.
You know what? I don't know if they did. I don't know how much. I'm really anxious to see how much of this is really happened, or how much of it is Hollywood.
Right.
Oh, nice.
Okay. I mean, because.
So are you in there?
No,
he doesn't know.
That's what I was.
None of us are. I mean, there may be live film of the games or something, but they used actors as players.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Obviously, they used actors for the coaches and Mr. Sterling and all that. But I don't think there's going to be any live footage of us or the game.
No, that's not what I mean. I'm asking, is there an actor of you?
Oh no, I'm not. Hey, come on, man. I'm a low level guy. I wasn't.
They didn't interview you and ask you for
and that's interesting, because when I first heard that the project was going to happen, I got a hold of a person who was going to be kind of on the production team and advisor, and I asked that person. I said, if you guys want somebody who was there and can kind of give you some technical advice on yes, that happened, no, that didn't happen, I'd be willing. And they never reached out, which is fine. So I'm going to be really interested to watch it and to see how much of it was fiction and how much of it, that really happened.
Because I watched, obviously, Winning Time, which was the kind of the Lakers version of this. And I, fortunate enough to talk to some people, and they were like, well, this was true. This not so much. Like, obviously there was things that they fabricate or exaggerate to make it better for television. We get that. But there were certain things with this. Yeah, that what 100% happened. No, that 100% did not.
Like Jerry West being a raging maniac, like that part.
I tell you what, that was so unfair to Jerry.
Yeah, they made him look really bad. They needed a villain, I guess.
And trust me, guys, he was not happy about that.
I'm sure he wasn't. Wait a minute, that's not me. No,
that was not fair to Jerry at all.
No.
And I hope they're fair in this one. I'm not sure. But let's do this. After it comes out, we'll come back on and I'll give you my 2 cents.
Yeah. I think the good news is, I think the good news with this is that in the Lakers one, I don't know that they struggled to have a villain, which is why I think they did that to Jerry. But in this case, you have your villain. You have Donald Sterling. You can make him look as bad as you want. I don't think anyone's going to complain.
There's no doubt who the villain was in this whole thing.
Sure.
So, to get back to the lack of success, it's been a combination of a lot of things, and the most disappointing thing is for the fans who stuck with them through, the days at the old sports arena, and all the way through this period. And it's really disappointing for them. And I think it's going to happen at some point for this team, because they have a great owner. In my opinion, he's the best owner. They have a really smart front office. They've got to get a way to get some younger players in there, some younger stars they can help build with, which I think they'll do. So
maybe the new stadium helps.
Maybe
getting out of the Lakers' shadow a little bit more.
Maybe, more importantly than that is getting Kawhi's knee right and making sure
that might never happen.
They re-sign Paul, and so
or poor Billy Crystal. He's got
he's got to move now.
Yeah, but the new arena is going to be great. I mean, it's definitely a free agent destination. That franchise, if they had cap space,
right? Which they don't
right now.
So,
I mean, it's got so much going for it. It's in a great city. We got great fans. We got the best owner. And it's going to be the best basketball facility in the world. Trust me.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if it does not host the 2028 Olympic basketball venue.
Sure.
Well, hey, can I tell you one of the most amazing stats of all time, and it happened on your
Here's our
watch
stat
on
guy.
that 13.
Here he is.
So 6'1" Eric Bledsoe, a backup point guard playing 20 minutes a game, averaged a block a game this season.
Yeah.
That is crazy athleticism.
Yes, it is.
20 minutes, a 6'1" backup point guard getting a block. So
Yeah.
I just want to say that's always one of the most amazing stats.
Which to the casual, he'll hear that and go, well, how difficult is it to block one shot in 20 minutes?
People don't average blocks.
It's incredibly difficult, just so you know. It's not
it is.
It's incredibly difficult when you're going up against elite scorers every night. It's incredibly difficult to do that. So
yeah, and Eric is one of the two most athletic, just pure athletic point guards that I've ever been around. And the other was Derek.
I've been saying for years.
Love Derek.
Yeah, I've been saying that for years. Derek Bledsoe is one of the best athletes of all time I've ever seen.
Eric,
let's get into the second round though. Let's see what you think.
Bledsoe would have been a great defensive back.
He looked like it.
I bet.
I mean,
definitely.
the guy's. I mean, his build is unbelievable, and I bet you he never lifted a weight.
He looks like that. Honestly, Coach, I swear, Coach, he looks like that type of dude who just shows up.
I know he didn't lift much when he was with us.
Yeah, he does look like that type of dude. He's just naturally fast. He's naturally strong. That's exactly what he looks like.
I hate those dudes.
That's him. That's 100% him.
Anyway, what else we got, guys?
Well, let's get on to the second round, Coach. First off, let's get into the first series. Yeah, what do you think of the Timberwolves Nuggets series? What do you think before going into the series, and then after 2 games, what do you think now?
I'm gonna be honest. Before going in, I thought it would be a competitive 6 or 7 game series. I do not see that now. I think the defensive performance that Minnesota put on those guys the first 2 games is one of the best I've seen in a long, long time. Now, Jamal Murray is hurt, and they don't have depth.
That doesn't help.
But, Minnesota shows you how important size and length is in this league. And I think Minnesota is going to handle them pretty well. It's easy to say now they're up 2-0.
Of course. But, Coach, I felt like this series, the longer it went on, because you just mentioned a 6-7 game series. I felt like the longer this series went on, the more that favored Minnesota, because their defense would eventually wear on Denver, and Denver would I felt like they'd eventually crack. I did not expect them to dominate Denver the way that they've been dominating.
No, and not only that, I was very surprised at the way Denver lost their poise.
Yes.
Well, they haven't really had anybody bring the fight to them. I think I think that's the biggest issue we have here, Coach. They've basically been the team that's been the aggressor. Minnesota actually came in and brought the fight to them.
They really did.
They took everybody out of their game. We got I think Jokic probably got like 5 or 6 turnovers the last game, which is
7.
Uncharacteristic of him. They brought it out of everybody. They're just snatching the ball from everybody. They're getting all of the rebounds. Yeah, it did not look like the Denver team that is trying to get a 2-peat. It doesn't look like the Denver team that's trying to repeat.
No, and I think we can all agree that throughout the course of this season, they're a great team, but not as good as last year's team.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
That I think we all agree with. And as maybe the sole person who picked Minnesota, I will say I am happy that it's going to do 2 things. 1, prove me right, but 2, is this the death of small ball? Because it's a
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. Not the death of it.
Edwards is still small, and he's driving that team.
Like where they play no center, right? You got a team now that has 2 legit 7-footers who either one could have been the 5, right? And they're playing side by side, and they're like you said, the length and that size defensively is making it difficult. Now those guys don't grow on trees. I get it. Maybe not the depth, the production.
They have 2 centers,
right? Naz Reid too,
and Naz Reid. And 2 of those 3 guys can stretch the floor, which really opens it up. I mean, that's That's an anomaly in the league to have 2 7-foot guys that can really come out and stretch and shoot the three. They're going to be a problem the next few years.
Well, I was about to ask you, Coach. You're watching this Minnesota team.
Yeah.
Do they have the formula?
Yes.
Because it's very difficult to have the formula, Coach. You've been on it. You've been on the bench. You've seen championship units firsthand. And when you get I remember Shaq telling me this a long time ago. When you get the formula, you don't pour it down the drain because it's very difficult to get the formula.
Yeah, and
Coach, you think this Minnesota team has the formula?
I do, and Tim Connolly got a lot of criticism when he made that trade.
Worst trade in NBA history. Worst trade in NBA history.
Everything.
I'll be honest. I was like, oh boy, I don't know if this is good. He's proven us all wrong. Now he's proven us wrong because Anthony Edwards is the real deal.
Yes,
he's the reason.
Yeah, if Anthony Edwards underperforms, we're talking about what a bad trade it was in Minnesota. Not being obviously.
Whoa, wait a minute. Rudy Gobert did just win Defensive Player of the Year this year.
I understand that, but I understand. I agree, but I agree with what Coach is saying more in the sense that if Anthony Edwards doesn't take that step,
right,
we might not be having the same conversation.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah. And the other thing you got to remember is, if you look at this, they're totally taking on the personality of Anthony Edwards, which I think takes a lot of pressure off Karl Anthony Towns. He doesn't have to be the leader anymore.
Yes.
And
that wasn't a good fit for him.
No, it really wasn't. The one thing I see about them going forward the next 5 years, let's say, I think Rudy Gobert is going to age okay. He's going to be fine for the next 3 years. As a point guard. Mike Conley, he's older.
He's on his way
now, he's a great leader, and he's a great person to have on your team. I just wonder.
Good role player.
Yeah, are they going to have to upgrade at point guard at some point? Now, they have a great backup point guard right now, Imani Morris, one of the best in the league. Nickeil Alexander-Walker's a great defender. At the wing. So, but my thing is, are they going to be able to get a point guard
to replace Mike, right? They can't. Mike Conley can't be there forever. Or maybe maybe he can.
Maybe he can.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
To be honest with you, Coach, and this is where, because they extended Mike Conley for 2 more years.
Yeah.
So, and I still think that Mike Conley with this vet unit, I still think he could be really good. But
I agree.
But as a GM, I feel like this is where GMing works, because you're probably going to get a late first round pick. I don't think that we need to pluck anybody from somebody's roster. No. How about I go find a gem in a draft? How about that? How about I go find a gem in a draft, just like Portland did with Damian Lillard? I go find a gem in the draft, and Mike Conley's going to be here for another 2 years, and we groom this kid, and we make the transition within the next 2 years for this kid.
Yeah,
moving forward.
Oh, that's definitely one way to approach it. The other is to try to get somebody in free agency.
Sure.
Who's not going to command a ton of money, and then maybe you see. So this is where scouting becomes so important. The scouting department is the lifeblood of your organization. And you've got to do a really good job of scouting, and maybe you can find that second round pick that ends up being, like Draymond was to the Warriors or whatever. Right. That's why scouting is so important. And second round picks are a lot of time we don't put the importance on them that we should. Second round picks are really valuable.
Yeah, Denver got a pretty good one at center.
They should. I mean, we could sit here and go down the list of all the second round guys that have just been really good. Yes. And we could also go down the list of first round guys that are not in the league anymore.
Absolutely. Is there? I know we need to move on to the next series, but just because I know. But before we do that, I know you are still obviously aware. Is there a point guard out there that like kind of maybe an under the radar guy that you'd be like, oh, that guy would be a perfect kind of, wouldn't command too much money, would be a perfect kind of guy to slide into that role?
I've got a couple people in mind. One is the Jones kid.
Tyus Jones.
Tyus Jones.
What I was thinking. I love him.
Now, he could start on a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Because number one, he never turns the ball over.
Yes, he does.
He has the best assist turnover ratio in the league. And number two, he can make a shot and run a team. Yeah. So he's one.
And I feel he did a great job, even though it was in second unit when Ja was out, right? Like
he was great.
Yeah.
And the second one, ironically enough, is his brother, Trey Jones.
Oh.
Who plays for San Antonio, and he's really good too. I mean, he could possibly be a type of guy like that you could put in Conley's place. Those are just two guys off the top of my head.
Okay. The next series will stay in the West. Tony, I know Tony's having some audio issues, so I'll just say we'll stay in the West. OKC and Dallas. Obviously, they're I think they're at halftime. No, they're just about to head into
OKC's up 8. Yeah.
OKC's up. You have it 8. I have it 6, but it's one of the two. It's between 6 and 8.
Yeah. Okay.
What are your thoughts on this one?
Boy, this is going to be one of the best ones. People, media and everybody says, OKC's too young. They're too young. They're not experienced enough. Well, I'm not so sure about that. I think if you look at the whole roster, OKC is probably the roster you would go with. Now, one thing that really hurts Dallas is Maxi Kleber being out.
Yes.
He's an important part of that team because he's a big, he can stretch the floor and he can guard. I think this is going to be probably a 7-game series. And it's gonna really bring to the spotlight to the whole country just how good Shea is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they don't get a lot of national TV games during the year and stuff.
No, some of them even question why he's in the MVP conversation. And I believe it's because they haven't seen him.
That's a no-brainer.
I believe it's because they haven't seen him.
Yeah. I think, Coach, I think we have a tendency when we see young kids to try to make them more than what they are right now instead of letting them turn into what we think they're going to turn into. So, for example, this Oklahoma City team. I mean, Coach, you've been around, so you know how the game is. We have yet to see a team powered by kids win it because they're going to run into a vet unit.
And their average age is 23.
The kids, bunch of kids.
I mean, the problem they're going to have moving forward is, how they're going to keep all those guys. How are they going to pay them all?
Yeah.
Well, in the words of the great Marlo Stansfield from The Wire, this sounds like one of the good problems. That's what this sounds like.
Hey, great Wire reference. I love it.
Sir. It sounds like one of the good problems.
But let me just go back real quick. I think, even though they're young, I think they win in probably 7 games.
Okay. I'm with that because I had Dallas losing in the first round, so we need to get them.
So did I.
I had Dallas winning the first round.
But let me say the last thing about Dallas is I've been so impressed with Kyrie this year. Not his game, but his overall behavior off the court. I mean, all the antics and the tomfoolery and the crazy stuff that wasn't around this year. He was all about hoop.
Coach, he looks like he's in a different space right now.
He really is. And we can all agree that he may be the most skilled player with the ball that we've seen, him and Steph, ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only issue with Kyrie has always been the other stuff, which right or wrong, like I think sometimes he gets a raw deal for that other stuff, but it was never on the court. It was, when he plays, he can play.
There was never a question about his talent. It was always his focus being on basketball. And I think Luka's been good for it. I think the best thing for him has been Jason Kidd.
You understand why? You understand why?
I'll say this.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Tony.
Well, I just want to say this. My issue with Kyrie on the court has always been the fact that his worst skill as a point guard is passing the ball.
Which needs to be your best.
I don't know if that's his worst skill, but maybe his he just doesn't do it. He can do it. But he just maybe doesn't do it enough. But this year, I think he has been. I don't know what his assists are. You probably got him. But
that's why he said it.
He's
well. This year he's played this year it's fine that he's played more off the ball, and that's when we've seen at his utmost success when somebody else could really play point and be the facilitator, because that's not really his game. And if you need him to be the facilitator, then you don't go very far.
Yeah, fair enough. I've just been so impressed with his play this year, and more impressed with his off-court stuff has been almost non-existent.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, I could only hop on for a couple of minutes. It was great to talk to you. I
You
really
too.
appreciate the time. I'm going to leave you guys to it. Absolutely. This was great.
All right.
Thanks again, Coach. I appreciate it. All right, fellas.
We'll talk again.
See you tomorrow, buddy. We hop into the East.
Okay.
Or anything else? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're hopping to the East.
Let's go to the East. Let's go with the easy one. Let's go with the easy one. Celtics Cavs.
Yeah, that's going to be probably no, he's right. That's going to be a 4 or 5 game series. I think we saw today. Boston is just so much better, even without Porzingis.
They don't need help for them.
You know, Cleveland just doesn't have the roster to be able to play. And I love JB Bickerstaff. He's a friend. He's a good coach. But Jared Allen not being out there really hurts him. You can't expect Donovan to, get 40 or 50 every game. That's just so hard. That's so hard.
That's what he would have to do, right? He'd have to have
what did he have tonight? Because I didn't watch that one.
Tonight
at one point, when we were down by 25, he had like 33 or something, and they were down by 25 at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know if they kept him in.
Yeah. So they're going to have let's be honest, they're going to have a tough time beating Boston in that series.
He played
Coach, are you calling it?
33.
Yeah. I'm calling it Boston.
Yeah.
In like 5
Coach.
games.
Well, I was going to say, Coach, go bold. Are you going to call it Boston in 3?
No, they're going to win in 5 games, I would say.
Does it bother you, or maybe not bother? Bothers the wrong word. Does it worry you that Boston is going to have a pretty easy road, and most of the games aren't close, but the one that was close, they lose?
Yeah. That's their problem.
Worry you? Because the deeper they go, they're going to be in closer games.
Yeah, and that's the problem they've had all year. If you look at their record in close games, 5 minutes to go, up 5, down 5, they have not been very good. And I'm sure Tony's got the stats on that, but they have not been.
A couple of times.
Coach, do you remember we talked about this last time you came on? If we get Boston for the first 40, the Bulls for the last 3 minutes, that'd be the ultimate team.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's they're not going to have a problem with that this round, but in the conference finals, there's going to be some close games, and they've got to execute better down the stretch. It's just too much, Jalen and then Jason and all that stuff. But talent-wise, they're going to be there. But it doesn't bother me. It concerns me that in the close games, their execution has to be better than we've seen in the regular season.
So we all agree. We all probably agree then Celtics in 5, right?
Yeah,
For 5.
4 or
Okay.
5.
Yeah.
4 or 5.
Yeah, I'm going 3.
Pacer, you got
Celtics in 3.
3. Celtics in 3. We're going old school.
Come on, man.
Pacers and Knicks.
Yeah. Woo.
Rivalry.
I just want to say this.
What?
Jalen Brunson has been the best player in the playoffs. More than Anthony Edwards,
yeah.
Jalen Brunson has been the best player in the playoffs.
We can't argue with that. I mean, you see what he's done the last 4 games is, Oscar, Jerry West, Michael Jordan, and him.
That's a pretty good list to be on.
Come on, man. It's just going to be. This might be the best series. I mean, Indiana had that game won. They had that game won, so they've showed that they can play with the Knicks. It's a contrasting style, which is what I like.
Absolutely.
Indiana wants to play so fast, and the Knicks are more of they're going to score, but defensively they're more physical and into you. Those 3 defenders that they have on the perimeter, and the thing I like about them is, like, first quarter they play hard. By the end of the game, they're playing harder than they did at the beginning of the game. Mm-hmm. Their effort level just seems to go up and up and up, and a lot of it's those 3 kids because they're tough, they're tough-minded, and a lot of it's the coach. This is going to be a great series, and I'm gonna pick Indiana. I'm gonna pick Indiana. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, Coach, how much is Mitchell Robinson at the rest of the playoffs going to affect them?
It's going to be huge. He's not healthy. As you see, he's one of the best offensive rebounders in the game when he's healthy. I don't think he's healthy. And if you look at the minutes, Tibbs always plays his guys a lot of minutes, which is fine. And they got days off in between, so that's fine. But, Mitchell Robinson not being able to play high minutes puts a lot of pressure on Hartenstein, and they're going to have to play Precious Achiuwa some too. I just think
they announced he's out for the rest of the playoffs.
Mitchell Robinson's out for the rest of the playoffs?
There you go.
Oh,
okay, so what does he have, a shoulder?
Yes, he has a stress fracture in his ankle. Yeah. No, stress fracture in his ankle, out 68 weeks.
Okay, wow. That's tough, man. So my guy Precious, who I love, he's going to have to step up. Or Hartenstein's going to have to play 42 minutes.
No, but I love that pickup. I think that went underrated. I fortunate for me being in Toronto and getting to see OG and Precious a lot. I thought that the biggest part of that trade, I was like, Precious, and they're like, why? I said, watch in the playoffs, OG's defense, and you saw it last night, right, with the steal and then the dunk that kind of kept that momentum going late in the game. But I think Precious too is that guy that can give you those minutes off the bench where, look, you'd rather have Mitchell Robinson. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But those are the kind of guys that will make the difference up against a fast-paced team like Indiana, right? Because if you can slow them down, then you have a chance, right? They're going to keep you in the game because their style is so fast and frenetic that they will make mistakes. That's the downside of playing that fast, I think.
And one of the things that kind of surprised me, and they got to change this, is Tyrese Halliburton only took 6 shots. Okay, that can't happen. And I don't know what the reason was, but I'm sure that's a conversation they had today in their film session and their practice. He's got to shoot more.
I think he needs to shoot more late. And I don't know if you've noticed this. Again, this has a lot of Raptors guys in here, so I can tell you like all the stuff that I saw that's right and wrong with them for covering for them for so many years. 3 minutes or less in the fourth quarter, you see a different Pascal Siakam. I don't know if you noticed it. It was exactly 3 minutes. Spin move. When he gets frustrated, it's a spin move, missed layup. It's exactly at the 3 minute mark. That's what he did. And that's when the New York kind of started that run that put it out of reach. So that, not out of reach, but kind of won the game.
It was a 5-0 run there late that won the game for him.
Yeah. And that's
that DiVincenzo 3 was a killer.
Yeah, and that was deep. Did you that was not that was
that's a tough shot. But it's going to be a great series. I do pick the Pacers. I've got a really good friend that's on their staff, 2 really good friends on their staff. So, as a kind of a selfish thing, I hope they win it. But it's going to be great, guys. You know it. Wait till that thing goes back to Indiana. Yeah. How crazy that's going to be.
That's a little biased pick, so I'm going to go with the Knicks just to be a contrarian.
That's okay. All right, what's the last one?
That's it.
That
we got them all.
I can't even go with the Knicks because they keep losing a major component. That's it.
Yeah. Hey, if the Knicks were healthy, it might have been
Coach, I did want to ask you this though. Have you
You cut out.
Well, I'm going to say, did you see the meme where Tyrese Halliburton plays like Urkel? Exactly like Urkel.
No, man, I didn't see that.
Urkel hooping, that was funny.
Oh man,
crazy! He plays just like Urkel.
Well, if that's the case, Urkel could hoop.
Urkel
could hoop. He could hoop.
He could hoop. So we got the Thunder, Minnesota, Boston, and then we're split on Pacers and the Knicks, I think.
Yeah, I think that was the consensus of the group. Yeah.
He's having some audio issues. Coach, it was a pleasure.
No, my pleasure. Thank you so much, guys. Let's do this again.
Yeah,
look forward to it.
I'm gonna bring some clips from that show too, just to get to the bottom of it and see if that show is correct.
Hey, the one I saw the preview. The one thing that I think is going to be accurate is that white party.
Yeah.
Okay, that did happen. We were there, me and my wife. So we could talk about that next time. But
all right, I'm gonna bring the clip. I appreciate
that thing was something else, man.
Appreciate you. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.
All right, guys. Coach. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, thanks. Oh, man, that's crazy.
So for those that don't know, you can get Coach a Hoop of the Day I saw that. I don't know if you know. Oh, you're still on. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Before you leave, so you got Hoop of the Day. Is that on Twitter or is that everywhere?
Twitter.
It's
also on my coaching website every day, gymratbasketball.com. JYMRATT basketball.com. It's a coaching resource website.
Yes, I since the last time the first time that you were here when I was on briefly, I subscribed and I stole some coaching tips from you. Thank you. We lost the final, but we made the final.
It's all free. No charge for any of it.
And then I don't know if you in the thumbnail, you probably didn't see it, but I used one of your hoops of the day. I'm going to send you mine. I keep forgetting to do that.
Please send it to me and I'll give you credit.
Absolutely. No, I love that now. It's a definite follow. There's some cool. I think today's was the pink one. I think.
Oh, in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Yeah, Vancouver. So, and being in Canada, being Canadian, so that's special. I like that.
The Pink Alley.
Pink Alley, yes.
Yeah. Oh, Coach, I want to ask you a question, Coach.
Sure.
Just to let you know, if you still talk to Robert Pack, let him know me and Nick are big fans. Ever since the '90s, man. His dunks. What I'm saying, his dunks were one of the highlights of the '90s.
Yeah, he was something else, wasn't he? And we coached together. I think 3 years we were together with the Clippers, and I talked to him about a month ago. Yeah, he was coaching in the BAL, the Basketball Africa League. Now he's back in Texas, coaching some high school, I think. So, good man, Robert Pack.
Yeah, I've been trying to get a hold. I've been holding him and all that, but yeah, he let him know that we're big fans of us.
I sure will. You guys got to get him on.
We're trying. Definitely gonna try.
Oh, he'll come on. If you need his number, let me know.
We're trying. So, anyways,
I don't know. Tom, did you hear that? He said if you need his number,
I'll text you if you can send me his number. That'd be great.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure he'd come on. He's a great dude.
Yeah, he'd be great.
Yeah,
he was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, guys. Thanks so much.
So, anyways, Coach, you probably got to go. I know we took a little more of your time. We'll see you before the conference finals.
Yes.
Let's see if we're right.
Yeah. Let's check back in.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Yeah, we'll see you in a couple of weeks, Coach. Thanks.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Nick.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, listen, he agreed with me with a lot, so he's definitely
Coach comes on.
Right.
Hey, I just want to say this, though. Hold on. I want to say this. Hold on. I want to say this. Okay. So as far as my sons go, the 7 seconds or less sons, I think you understand what happened. 05, Joe Johnson breaks his face. I don't think they were good enough to beat the Spurs that year, but at least it's a conversation, because they're only losing by 5 or 6 points. Is Joe Johnson worth 5 points? Maybe, but no, I don't think they beat the Spurs at it. 06, I think they had a really good chance to beat them, but they were missing 3/5 of their starting lineup by the time the conference finals hit. So there's that. 07, let's see, they had Bloody Nose Nash game 1. Game 2, they beat them by 20. Game 3, the ref was literally betting against them and went to prison for fixing games. Game 4, they beat. Game 5, they had a suspension with Amari and Boris, and they still only lost by 3, 88-85. In Game 6, the Spurs legitimately beat them. So, I mean, it's hard to win a title when you have refs working against you.
So did they win?
No, they didn't win.
No.
But I mean, if the ref's betting against you, that's a different little thing, wouldn't you say?
The ref was not betting against them. The ref gave some advice to some people to bet against them.
Right. The ref said, whatever the spread was, San Antonio by 4 or something, and he said they'll win by 4.
Yeah, they keep it close. I believe he's available. You know what? If you really want this, we can get him on and talk to him.
What?
Supposedly he's no, I think I was talking to Ori. I think Ori told me this. So Ori was talking to him, I believe. And if it wasn't Ori, it was somebody else, but you have to ask Ori. But anyways, he's charging now. He doesn't do interviews for free.
Hey, listen. If it's that important, because I need to lay to bed some of these Lakers Kings stuff, and you want to talk to them about the Suns, we'll make it happen. It was Ori. I'll reach out to
Ori. You really
Ori.
want to do that?
For a second,
I think it was Ori.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Sorry, me and him were talking the other day about it. And I'm pretty sure it was him. If not, if not, tell me not him, and then I'll shoot you some other names it could have been.
All right. Well,
Some
we'll
people on the
make
channel.
it. Whatever it is that's chopping up your mic, we got to get that fixed first.
I'm working on it.
All right. All right. A pleasure. Did you disagree with anything? With Kobe?
No. I mean, I'll be honest. What I was going to say, the Knicks keep losing a major component after every round, so I could see why he's thinking the Pacers.
Yeah, that's why he's going Pacers. Boston's a no-brainer. Minnesota would have been like, I think it's easy to say it now. Like, I picked them to win in the first round and sweep Phoenix. Everyone thought I was crazy. I picked them to beat Denver. I'm picking them to win the NBA championship. So I have to pick them every round because I picked them to win the championship. But I think everybody was saying, no, Denver. Now they're up 2-0 going back home. Now everyone's like, oh, yeah, it's Minnesota. Well, beyond. No, and he did say I had this being a closer series before it started, but
I mean, it still could be. I mean, Denver, they are the defending champs. So
well, according to Jamal Murray, the Nuggets suck.
The Nuggets suck?
Nah, Jamal Murray told
they suck.
That Jamal Murray told
the Nuggets
him
suck. According to Jamal Murray, they suck.
What he told him is any team that's down 0-2 sucks. So that's why he keeps saying that.
When did he say that to you?
Last year? Was it last year? The year before?
Last year in the playoffs, when they were up 2-0 on the Suns, he started talking shit to me in Scottsdale.
I
ran into the whole team. I was hold on. It was funny. It was so funny. I run into the whole team, right? And they're outside and they're in the back of the club or whatever. And I'm out in Scottsdale a lot for my job. So I run into him and I see him. I was like, holy shit, it's the entire Nuggets squad. Jamal Murray, nobody else. And they're just sitting there looking. Jamal immediately starts talking shit. Just immediately, like he's a fan, and I'm the NBA player on the court, just immediately. And he goes, "Suns suck." And I go, "Well, I mean, I wouldn't say they suck. You know what I mean? Any team down 0-2 sucks."
Did you have your phone?
No.
Oh, it's too bad. If you recorded that,
I don't fan out. I don't fan out like that. So I didn't know we were just going to start talking shit.
It wasn't about fanning out, but us Canadians, we talk some trash, man.
Drizzy.
It's cold up here.
Hey, I don't care. Hey, you talk whatever. Just be correct. There can't be championship teams that have been down 0-2, but any team down 0-2 sucks. So that means the Nuggets suck.
How about if you're down 0-2?
And
what if you're down 0-2 and the two games were at home?
I mean,
then they really suck, I guess.
Really suck. No, maybe that's different. Maybe then they don't suck because it's to run it back to Canada. The Raptors were down 0-2 to the Bucks. Lost both games in Toronto. That was the year they won the NBA championship. So Denver's in a good spot right now.
21 Bucks, 93 Bulls. Whole bunch of teams were down 95 Rockets. Whole bunch of teams were down 0-2 and won the 70. What was it? The 77 Blazers. I mean, I can go down a bunch of teams. So that's what was so crazy about the statement, and especially coming from an NBA player who should know just because you're down 0-2 doesn't suck. And then people go like this, well, he's probably just talking shit. All I said was, damn, it's the entire Denver Nuggets squad. There's no reason to start talking shit.
I mean, do you really need a reason to talk shit though?
No, I don't think you need a reason to.
Yeah.
I think you could tell from your son's tattoo and your Robert, let me think, Joe Klein jersey that you were wearing, that you were a Suns fan.
These things, they're factors.
Hey, what's really funny? Back in the day when they had the two-headed monster that was Joe Klein and Danny Shays, they tried to pump those guys up and combine them to be Schlein or Clays or whatever. You know what I mean? Because combined, they would get you 8 points and 8 rebounds.
Yeah, that whole Brangelina thing, dude. They started merging everybody's names. That was the worst time in the history of the world.
Well, it's like this. My dad, okay, so, and this is going to be my last point, and then we got to go. But my dad, when they traded Dan Marley for Hot Rod Williams, I don't know if you remember that trade or not, but so they traded Dan Marley for Hot Rod Williams, and my dad was pissed. You know what I mean? So he would call Hot Rod Hot Dog, and Cold Rod, and eventually he just came to the name Cold Dog. So my dad called John Williams Cold Dog for about 4 years straight. Just fucking Cold Dogs in the game.
Not a raw Oscar. You called him a raw Oscar?
Yeah. So anyway, that's it. You guys got anything else?
I would love a cold dog on a hot bun.
You guys got anything else you want to talk about?
Nah. I'm still laughing.
Nah. So yeah, make sure y'all check us next week. We're down to once a week. I got a few obligations I got to do. So for the next few months, we're gonna be out like once a week. You should come check us out on Tuesdays. Wait, did you guys move Fluent and Chill? I thought you guys were on Tuesday. You guys are on Wednesday now?
So Fluent and Chill remains on Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. This week only, it is going to be Wednesday tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Because as I told you when we started, this lovely tan was my son's. I got roped in, tricked, bamboozled, hoodwinked into coaching. Being an assistant coach for my son's rep baseball team, and today was their first league. I don't know nothing about baseball. I'm a basketball dude. I coach his basketball team. That makes a whole lot of sense to me. Baseball, no, but it was their first game today, so I had to. All the games are on Fridays except for this one, so we had to move Fluent and Chill to Wednesday. It should be a good one. It's actually just me and Chilltown tomorrow. Haley is out sick. Or has an obligation, I don't remember. Excuse me. So it's just gonna be me and Chill, and we'll call up the audience, and we're gonna go a little bit deeper into each one of those series, and we're gonna actually talk about how everyone in the NBA, like the analysts, the talking heads, have all lost their damn minds. They've all lost from Pat Riley to JJ Redick.
What about EJ?
They've all lost their mind. They've all lost their damn minds. I'm trying to remember who was in the picture. It was Pat Riley, JJ. No Skill Gill. I mean, No Chill Gill, or Agent Zero Knowledge, whatever you want to call them. All of them. They've all lost their damn minds. They've all lost their damn minds. So we're gonna talk about that too.
Love it. That's dope.
Yeah, that's a good one. This is gonna be a good one.
All the controversy.
Well,
you Canadians are coming with it.
Yeah, if you're down
I'm on a big campaign right now. If you guys need. They are 5 team is the best basketball player I've ever seen. I will gladly come on and argue that. I am on a big crusade right now where
who did you say?
People are in respect on how good Hakeem was. You have no idea how good Hakeem
Olajuwon. Okay, we couldn't hear you because your thing's all choppy. Hey, listen. For next week for the HoopStorians, I feel like you could have Robert Pack on.
Hope so. Let's get it
all
done.
Right, he froze. You guys have
Look, I look at it.
You have an outro?
He has it. Subscribe.
What is it? What is it? Like and subscribe. What else is it?
Yeah, we do our 0 to 200, but yeah, he just says some wild stuff.
Let's do that. Let's do that. I'll do the 0 to 100. I got it.
Till it's finished, please don't make me laugh with that half-ass gimmick. I'm about to get mine and it's about time. Call us Grindhouse, everybody in a house grind. I'm just doing me, I ain't trying to outshine. Trying to kill my vibe is how you get outlined. I don't do it for the views and the likes, boy. I'm just giving you what I wrote last night, boy. I don't care if it isn't what you like, boy. My flow is fucking awesome, ain't it, white boy? Feeling fly.
Oh, yes. Well,
the more I hear it, I gotta lie to you, it kind of was like, it's all right the first time. The more I hear it, the more I like it.
He be spitting. B-Dog was a spitter, bro. Yeah, RP to B, but yeah, he was a spitter.
Kind of, it's sometimes some things, something just instantly you like. Other things you like, and then it fades the more you hear it.
Yeah.
And other ones,
but
it's
when
like,
it grows on you.
There's other ones where it grows on you, and those are the ones that are like, you know what? Because you start to hear different things, and you're like, oh, okay, I did it. All right.
Yep. Definitely.
So Tony just missed. We went 0 to 200. So we're gonna get out of here.
Okay, now y'all can hear me.
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I had to switch to the phone. It just wasn't working on the the home internet.
What a crazy world we live in. Like, I'm old enough that I grew up, right? No internet, dial-up internet, no smartphones, right? And then got a smartphone. Can you believe we're in a world where like most people's phone is like better connected to the internet and faster and blah blah than their home computers and stuff? Like, how crazy is that?
It's
Because
offensive.
you did the same thing that I've done, where like something's freezing, whatever. Oh, let me just get my phone. Let me get my phone. Like, just think about that. I find that to be amazing to me. I know that's because I'm old, but still, it's.
I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier. I should have done this all episode.
Yeah, you should have.
Mm-hmm.
You ruined the whole show.
I did. I fucked it up. Hey, I'm tell you what. It's like an old boss of mine once said. He's like, look, you're fucking up. Don't get me wrong. I fucked up, but the way you're fucking up is fucked up.
You gotta reel it in.
Yeah. You gotta reel it in. But anyways, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So yeah, if you want, like I said, I will gladly come on there and tell everybody why 95 Hakeem is the best player I've ever seen, and that's including Jordan.
He might very well be. Was that 200 block, 100 steal, Hakeem?
Well, I mean, he had 200 blocks and 200 steals in one season, but that was the year that he ran through an MVP on the road in every round. That's the year that he dropped 35.6 on the reigning MVP and Robinson. That's the year that he dropped, 33, 12, and 6 on Shaq in the finals. Was the underdog in every round and just kept winning. So,
yeah, but winning's a team thing, so he doesn't get credit for it.
I mean, when your second best player is Otis Thorpe, like that's why I see all these Kobe memes. Kobe, you without a top 75. First off, Pau Gasol should be in the top 75. You have no idea how good Pau Gasol was.
You know what's funny? The same guys. You want to stop people commenting in your comment section. The same guy go, Kobe never had a top 75. Blah blah. I go, okay. Listen, it's a guy who will tell me LeBron's the GOAT, and I'm like, but the top 75 list says, look, Jordan's the GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, that doesn't count. Well, no, hold on. If you're gonna say that Powell's not top 75, then yeah, Powell's definitely top 75. You know who's not top 75? There's a laundry list, but I mean,
right. But I'm just saying, any guy that has 20,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, 4,000 assists. I think he's at 1,941 blocks, so he might be a little short. But basically, 2,000 blocks. I mean, that dude is awesome.
No,
although he does have the misfortune of having the worst playoff start to any kind of top 75 player career. 0-12, gets swept his first 3 playoff appearances in the first round. So
yeah, but I mean, it was against the Suns, it was against the Mavericks, and it was against the Spurs. You know what I mean? And he didn't really have like a whole lot of like help. I'll put it this way: one of those years, Jason Williams, their starting point guard, scored 14.8 points on 15.2 shot attempts.
Not to be confused with white chocolate.
That is him.
No, it's not. That's like sour chocolate.
So I'm saying when you got more field goals than points, that's bad.
He could not
get 2 threes.
He wasn't that good.
But his bag's deep.
Yeah, sure. He can poop in it. But like that's what drives me crazy. They put together these 2-minute highlight reels and try to make a superstar out of a dude that was like 10-5 for his career who couldn't shoot. Like, get the out of here, man.
No, believe me, I know. That's because like I'll say this: one, who would you rather have, Shaq or Jason Williams? Because Shaq really only had one bag move, but it was an effective one.
Listen, Bruce Lee. I'm gonna say it, and then I'm hitting leave studio. Bruce Lee said this: never be afraid of a guy who practices 10,000 kicks. Be afraid of a guy who practices 1 kick 10,000 times.
Mic drop.
Now you're more fluent.
What else needs to be said? You feel me? What else needs to be said?
So anyways, we're out. Make sure y'all check us out next week. We're going to go over the greatest second round playoff performances of all time. After that, we should probably have the coach back on for a conference finals appearance preview. And then I got a Bob Ryan interview coming up. So we're going to air that at some point in time, and then the conference finals as well. So keep looking out. We're supposed to have Joey Crawford on at some point as well. A few other people, talking with Charles Oakley, trying to get him on as well. So please Please like, subscribe, and we will check y'all next week. I can't go 0 to 200.
Nice. Yeah, do something nice for your moms and the women in your family that deserve it. All right.
All right, Nick. Till next time.
Yes, sir.